Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the meeting of the Oregon Board of Education to order on Monday, April 22nd, 2019 at the OSD Innovation Center at 456 North Perry Parkway. Katie, would you please read the roll?
Ms. Feeney? Ms. Oderico? Ms. Flanagan?
Here.
Mr. Pankratz?
Present.
Ms. Bijak?
Here.
Mr. LeBrun? Mr. Zak?
Present.
We have proof of notice of the meeting. I'll entertain a motion on approval of tonight's agenda.
I'll move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve tonight's agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
We have a motion tonight. It is approved 4-0. Item number one, this is item A. This is the board's reorganization meeting. And the first item is board members' oath of office. And Katie, if I understand correctly, both of our board members have signed their oath of office. So we are off to item number 2, election of officers. The first office for the board to elect is that of president. Is there a motion?
Nomination.
Is there a nomination? Thank you.
I move to nominate Mr. Steve Zak as president of the Oregon School District Board of Education.
We have a nomination. Are there other nominations? That would be call number 2. Call number 3, are there any other nominations? Would someone be interested in making a motion to cast a unanimous ballot, or would you prefer to vote?
I'll move that we cast a unanimous ballot for Steve Zak as president of the Oregon School Board.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to cast a unanimous ballot for Steve Zak as Oregon Board of Education president. Any discussion? This doesn't need to be a roll call.
No.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations to Steve Zak. That motion passes 4-0.
Great, thanks. The second item is to elect a vice president. Are there any nominations for vice president?
I'd like to nominate Troy Pankratz as vice president of the Oregon School Board.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any nominations? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to close nominations and to cast a unanimous ballot for Troy Pankratz as vice president.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of Troy Pankratz as vice president, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Congratulations, Troy. Second item, or third item, is to appoint a treasurer. Is there any nominations for treasurer?
I'll nominate Tim LeBrun as treasurer for the Oregon School Board.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to close nominations and to cast a unanimous ballot for Tim LeBrun as treasurer.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye for Tim LeBrun as treasurer.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I was thinking what vice president would have been, or per president would be fun to have nominated Courtney in her absence when she comes back. But that would have been mean. Nominations for clerk.
I nominate Krista Flanagan for clerk of the Oregon School Board.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to close nominations and to cast a unanimous ballot for Krista Flanagan for clerk. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye for Krista Flanagan for clerk. Aye. Opposed? We have a full slate now, and you get to keep signing stuff. All right. Thanks. I notice here that the meeting has been appropriately noticed under Wisconsin Open Meetings Law, and that will be with Katie if anyone wants to look at that. And we welcome Anna for your first meeting. Congratulations, and If you have any questions during the meeting, just feel free to interrupt at some point with point of order or I'm lost, and we'll get on board, because we've all been in the same place, okay? So there are no such thing as dumb questions. So, okay, we're going to agenda item B, which is the consent calendar. Anna wasn't present, wasn't a board member for the minutes, and so we've talked about abstaining for that. She can vote on the remainder of the items, with Katie noting that she will be abstaining on the minutes, okay? Is there any item of the consent calendar that any board member wishes to have removed?
Steve, I would also abstain from the minutes from last meeting as I was not present.
Okay, so then we're going to have to table the minutes. So we'll remove those from the consent calendar right now. We don't have a quorum voting on it. So we'll remove those and put them on the next agenda item. We'll put them to the side, and then we'll have to have a motion to table them for the next meeting. So other than that, are there any other items that any board member wishes to have removed from the consent calendar? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll move approval of the consent calendar.
Is there a second to that motion? And I know we have a donation from On-Campus College Planning in the amount of $50 for an Oregon Community Scholarship Fund on behalf of a current student, so we thank them for that donation. Seeing none, I don't think we have any contracts or any policies of that, so all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Now we have the minutes that we put over to the side. I need a motion to table those for consideration at the next board meeting. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll move to table the minutes from the previous meeting due to no quorum being present.
Is there a second?
Second.
Yeah, you can vote on that. Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor of tabling the minutes of the previous meeting and putting that on the next agenda signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, we've got those tabled. Communication from the public. Board Policy 18004 has established an opportunity for the public to address the board, and I'm not seeing any members of the public, and no one's registered with you. Okay, so we'll move on. OEA report, and I don't see anyone from the OEA this evening. Hey, Becken.
Hi.
Hi. Kept you out of the rain tonight. Yeah. Yeah. What's going on at the high school?
Last week we had lots of testing for the underclassmen, and then for more of the upperclassmen we have lots of AP testing coming up in less than a month, so it's kind of, the last swing of all those courses. And
So what do you get to do when the underclassmen are testing? I mean, is it like senior goof off time or what?
No, our schedule is just like flipped, so like one day we had morning classes in the afternoon, and then, vice versa,
Okay.
so we, same thing kind of. And we had...
Mr. Pleiner was sweating there when I asked you that question.
And on Thursday we had our spring dance, which was great, and we made a lot of money, so that's awesome. And then on this Saturday we have our color run that we're partnering with Special Olympics with, so all the proceeds will go to Special Olympics after the race. So
That's Saturday?
this Saturday. So that's about it for me.
Great, thanks. Takes us to action items, something we do every year. First one is official designations, and that is a recommendation to designate the Oregon Observer as a district newspaper. I need a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Do we have to have one official newspaper? I guess I'm wondering, does it have to be weekly in terms of the Fitchburg newspaper as we're growing as a district, having that be, or do you have to name one?
You have to name at least one. There are some school districts that would name two if there's two newspapers in their community.
Do our notices that if they're published in the Oregon Observer also get published in the Fitchburg Star? I mean, they're the same newspaper.
I believe the answer to that question is no, because it's a paid notice or a paid advertisement
Right.
in the Oregon Observer, and the Star just comes out once a month, and I read it. It contains a lot of reprinted information or that's also in the Observer.
And we've had this question before about potentially doing in the Wisconsin State Journal. It's a cost thing. We just pick up one. But good. Any other questions? Okay, could you call the roll on this?
Mr. Pankratz?
Yes.
Ms. Bijak?
Aye.
Ms. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mr. Zock?
Yes, motion carries. Designation number 2 is a resolution regarding investment of district funds. And I note that there's a couple changes, Andy, to this. Can you now tell us what the changes are?
So these were recommended by our financial advisor. They're fairly minor, some restating of things, and then just aligning things to the statutes rather than kind of coming up with our own language on some things. So fairly technical type changes, and I can try to answer them the best that I can, but they were recommended by our financial advisor from PMA.
Do you know if Gina's reviewed these too?
I do not know that.
Okay.
I don't think so.
But this is Michelle recommending this to us?
Someone in Michelle's office, actually.
Okay. Anybody have any questions of Andy regarding this policy? Okay, then I need a motion to approve this resolution.
I'll move approval.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any questions? Seeing none, would you call the roll?
Ms. Flanagan?
Yes.
Ms. Bijak?
Yes.
Mr. Pankratz?
Yes.
Mr. Zock?
Yes, motion carries 4-0. Next designation is for depositories for district funds, and this is similar to what we've had in the years past in terms of the financial institutions.
Exactly.
Okay. Any questions of Andy? Is it Oregon Community Bank and Trust?
That was my question. I
Yeah.
see that I think it's changed on the printed one to say just Oregon Community Bank.
We didn't catch it at the other one? Okay. Yeah, I apologize. I thought we've caught that in the past.
Yeah, it was on the printed one.
Right.
Oregon Community Bank that we got put here.
Not
I don't
sure
know.
how that happened.
But anyway, a motion would be to revise to state that it's Oregon Community Bank would be the subject of any motion, if that's understood. Seeing no further questions, I need a motion to approve this resolution, noting that Oregon Community Bank would be designated as such. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Pankratz? Yes. Ms. Bijak?
Yes.
Ms. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mr. Zock?
Yes, motion carries 4-0. Number 2 is appointment of representatives, and that's usually been the board president's appointment. We need a CISA 2 delegate, and that entails going to a meeting of CISA 2 in Whitewater, and I believe this year's May 21st. I'm free that night. If anybody else wants to go in my place, they're welcome. Hearing none? All right, I'll go. You guys really owe me at the convention then, okay? So I'll be designated as the delegate, so if you would let them know that I'll attend that. Village Park Board, Tim has been our Park Board representative, and so I'm going to appoint Tim to continue in that stead, and then you and I will have a conversation about that. WASB delegate, that involves on January 22nd being our delegate at the WASB convention, and Anna's going to be there, and we talked about that, and she's willing to be our delegate. So I'm going to appoint Anna for that. Board committees, and this, I want to have some further discussion with that when we get more of the board members, but I want to trot out an idea. I think I've talked to a couple of you about this. Is right now we have 2 authorized board committees by policy. That's Policy Committee and Visioning Committee. And I've been toying in my mind as whether we just use a committee of the whole arrangement for those 2 committees. So that would mean on this, maybe like the second meeting of the month, we would designate the first portion of the meeting for our business stuff to get done fairly quickly like we normally do, and then have a period of time allocated for policy matters and have somebody designated on the board as chair, but we would be acting as a committee of the whole. Then after that's done, I'm thinking about an hour, we have the second part designated to visioning. Or we can keep the current format, and I would talk to you guys and figure out how to allocate the committees and their current designation. The couple things that are intriguing to me about going as a committee of a whole is because we have two committees and only two committees, it lends itself more toward combining as a whole when we do the work. Second of all, it reduces the redundancy of the committee members getting information, hearing that, and then having to present the same stuff at a board meeting next time around. The third thing is it eliminates another meeting for administrators who are going to be attending those. So we would just have a committee of the whole where we would discuss it, and whatever action came out of that would then go to the next board meeting, not the board meeting that we're in at that point in time. There would be no action taken as a committee of whole, and that way we can incorporate people into the discussion as necessitated by the topic of the conversation. So what do you guys think? If you're interested in that, we can pull together a policy. I could ask Gina to help me work on a policy with that, that the whole board would recommend, since we don't have a policy committee right now, to modify our current policy. I can live with either way. I think it's more efficient the other way, but Krista?
Yeah, I'm intrigued by it. I think one of the things I'd want to think about was having a separate night that you have a meeting that is a committee meeting. I think may lend itself to more dedicated discussion, and instead of if we're looking at doing it as a second half of a board meeting. I don't know. I mean, this is the first I'm hearing of it, so I'm just kind of, ruminating in my head, but I would really want to think about not losing the opportunity to have open and lengthy discussion.
Part of that's a function of location where we have it. So if we have a committee of the whole, we could just have that in the room over there, much like the committees would do. And I think a committee of the whole lends itself to that because we're not going to be taking action. So, one of the things that we've had some conversation about the drug dog issue and then other issues relative to the SRO agreement, where there's been extended discussion and conversation that the committee has had that's hard to replicate then to the rest of us who weren't able to do there. The other thing is we've tried to, as board members, when there's a issue in a committee that's a broad interest or a hot issue, we've tried to have board members come for there, and it essentially becomes a committee of the whole anyway. So I was thinking think about it, and would you get back to me? And because if we're interested in that, Gina and I can work up a policy for the committee of the whole that we could bring before you. Troy?
Steve, one consideration might be to do the committee of the whole in advance of the board meeting at, say, 5 o'clock or something that would just further, decrease the amount of time that staff is needing to hang around that evening.
Really good idea, yeah. Like that second meeting, we could start at 5 and go to 7. Get our payment of the vouchers, the communication from the public, that sort of stuff over there. Okay. Anna?
Not having much to compare to, being new to the board, I would say I would agree that there's some efficiency in having those conversations as a whole committee body, especially if there are just the two topics, that if we all hear the same information and all are part of that conversation at one time, it may lend itself to even more idea sharing and gathering, and so I would support that concept. But I don't have a real strong framework of how that would change from what it is today.
And I talked with Brian about this and Gina, and I think the idea of eliminating another night of meetings separate from the second and fourth was one that they smiled about.
You could also do away with a few doodles for those of you that are being requested to let Katie know where things are at for a particular meeting.
Good. Okay, so more feedback. I'll talk to Courtney, Tim, and Barb about that, and you may see a policy draft coming to you for consideration at the next time. Okay, issuance of teacher contracts, Brian? Or Gina?
I am delighted to see that Gina is back. Otherwise, I was going to do it in her stead. She is playing parent tonight as well as one of our new 4K
already?
parents. So,
Wow.
Steve, I'm going to abstain from this item and just step away as I have
Okay.
a conflict of interest.
Yep.
Yeah, I was thinking, I'm a little emotional right now, so forgive me. I cry at graduation too, so it's like class of 2032. Okay, so I am very, I know. Okay, don't get me started. Okay, and this is really exciting too, because this is the time of year when we get to offer teachers the contracts if you approve them. And so you have the purple in front of you, but we present teachers with their contract, provided that they have not given us notice of retirement or are laid off or are considered for non-renewal. Am I doing okay?
Yeah, you're doing great.
Oh, okay, I wasn't sure.
We have 3 voting board members. We have a quorum of 4, and I forgot the rule on this one. So if we have one abstaining, does the abstaining count for purposes of board quorum to vote?
We have 3, let's see.
We have 3 of 4 present, but that doesn't constitute a quorum. So I'm thinking we don't have enough to vote on teacher contracts, except that Troy we could remove,
We could remove hers.
yes,
From
and
the-
then we would
Then he would
table
be
that
able to
and do
vote.
it for the next meeting.
Yes. I think that would be the wise thing to do.
Okay. So
And in fact,
I would
if
need
you want to
a,
actually remove hers from the folder, then we could say we've removed
why don't
it.
you hang on? I would entertain a motion to remove the teacher contract from consideration for board action the night of Kelly Pancratz.
So moved.
Is there a second to that? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. So, no, he does not. Yeah. Can we even do that? We would have to, Troy can vote on that without a conflict. Yeah,
Yeah, do you want to come up and vote on that?
we're going to do a redo.
It would be helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to, the motion is to remove Kelly Pankratz's contract from the consideration tonight. And I don't believe that that puts you into a conflict position because you're not benefiting from the action at all. So I'm going to recall the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, that's a 4-0 vote. Yeah, thanks, you guys. So then we would need a motion to approve. Were you finished, Gina? You were on a roll.
I know.
We got you
I
over
had my
4K.
parent hat on, and then you threw me for the loop with
Yeah.
the quorum, so now I'm getting refocused. So thank you.
So we're all set? Everybody understand? Any questions for Gina about what we're doing? This is pursuant to our staffing plan that was approved last time. So I'd need a motion to approve the teacher contracts as presented with the exception of the one that we've removed by the previous motion. Is there a motion to that effect?
Yes, I move approval of the teacher contract for school year 2019-20.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Could you take the roll?
Ms. Bijak?
Yes.
Ms. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mr. Pankratz?
Yes.
Mr. Zach?
Yes. Motion carries 4-0, and we've got those ready for signature. So I'm going to take those home and ferry them over to you at some point. Second is the issuance of the licensed non-rep contracts. Gina?
Yeah, so same as the teachers is that we have those in a folder once you approve them for the 1920 school year.
Is there a motion to approve the non-rep contracts?
Motion to approve the non-rep contracts.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Could you call the roll?
Ms. Bijak?
Yes.
Mr. Pankratz?
Yes.
Ms. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mr. Zach?
Yes. You all caught up? I was going pretty fast.
Yeah, I'm just looking for the contract. I just can't.
Okay. Last one is the issuance of the administrator contracts. Gina?
Yes, so similarly for the teachers and licensed on-rep, I would be asking for the board to approve the issuance of administrator contracts for the 1920 and 2021 school year, because those are 2-year contracts per state law.
Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second? Any further discussion? Could you call the roll?
Mr. Pankratz?
Yes.
Ms. Bijak? Yes. Ms. Flanagan? Yes. Mr. Zak?
Yes, motion carries. That completes action items number E, or letter E. After discussion items, no committee reports this evening. Information items. G, Brian, Superintendent's report.
A couple of quick items for you. Today was our Professional Development Day, and Dr. Gloria Ladson-Billings, Professor Emeritus at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, was with us today for about an hour and a half presentation to all staff right here in the Performing Arts Center. This was followed at the various schools with work regarding her book titled Promise Keepers. We have several book groups that are part of the professional development pathways that were studying that book. And then also the high school had the opportunity to work with Dr. Ladson-Billings until lunchtime today around equity-related issues. So it was a full day as well in the afternoon, but we were delighted to have such a world-renowned speaker 7 miles away from us and able to make a visit in the district. We don't have that opportunity too often, and she was simply terrific this morning. And board members, if you would like to see her presentation, we can get it to you because Cable Access recorded it for us. I was hoping our second person would be here, but he's not. If he is, I'm just going to repeat this. John Tanner is our new Assistant Director of Instruction and Student Achievement, and we sent that information out this past week to all staff, and we are delighted to have John stepping in this role. In some cases, he spent a lot of time working with Leslie over the last several years. I believe we are in year 8 of our personalized learning initiative. So John spent quite a bit of time working with our staff, and there's not a better person to step into that new role. So we're delighted about that.
He's at the kindergarten meeting.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. 4K, you mean? No, yes. Soon to be kindergarten. We've already mentioned that we had a very large group of parents in the PAC for a 4K transition to kindergarten this year. Again, that's always the fourth Monday in April, and something we look forward to every year because in some cases it's our first touch point with a new group of parents that are new to the district. Tomorrow morning, right here in the Innovation Center, the Oregon Rotary Club is going to be hosting a joint meeting with our Student Interact Club, which are members, students from Oregon High School. And Andy and Leslie, there are about 30 kids, plus or minus, in the Interact Club. If any of you are looking for breakfast tomorrow morning, we will cover it for you, and we would love to have you join us. And if I'm remembering right, we start at 7 o'clock instead of 6:45. So if you'd like to join us for breakfast, that would be terrific. One item that's a look ahead is next week on Monday night we'll have 4 school leadership team presentations right here in the Innovation Center. And if you're counting schools, it's not the 4th elementary school. We're going to have the 4K staff make a presentation. So that's something new that we're looking at this year. A little look backwards, 2 weeks ago on April 10th, I was part of a panel presentation for first-year school superintendents. It's called the First Year Superintendent Academy. And annually in the state of Wisconsin, depending on the year, there are roughly 40 to 50 new superintendents. So this was, I've been invited back 4 years in a row, so I haven't said something that keeps me from getting invited back, and I was told I'm coming back next year too, so that will be 5 in a row. And then lastly, if you're available tomorrow afternoon, It's our annual district office open house for 2019-20 student art. And it's something, actually, Katie, Janie, and I started this a number of years ago, and parents love it. We have a full group of new art offerings that will be throughout the district office. And Katie, the program starts at, I think it's 4:15, if I have it correct. So we'll have student art from elementary level all the way to the high school, and then a short program recognizing them. And of course, the art is open. If parents and or grandparents can't make it tomorrow night, we get frequent visitors throughout the year when a grandparent or a relative is in the area and they would like to show off their art. So we welcome that. And while we don't keep a log, it seems like we have several people coming in every month between now and next year coming to see their art. That is my last item, unless there's questions from the board.
Okay, seeing none, thanks, Brian. Closing future agenda, just a reminder, May 2nd is our board in service, starting at 5:30 at Union South. Brian and I are putting together the agenda for that, so we'll get that out to you pretty quickly on that, and then we'll be working on our agenda for the first meeting in May after that, so be on the lookout for that. Anything anybody wants on the agenda? Okay. Then there's checkout. Krista, anything? Troy?
Just a quick comment. It was about a month ago at high school parent-teacher conferences. Amy Miller and her community team had a little exhibit set up for educating parents about juuling and some of the things to look for when students or kids are maybe experimenting with juuling and vaping. And I just thought it was a really incredible exhibit and great education for us parents. I thought I knew some things about juuling and vaping, but I learned quite a bit at that exhibit. And so I just wanted to say kudos to Amy and her team for, I think, filling a very necessary need in the community and helping us parents understand what to look for.
Anna, anything?
Nope, just excited to start with the board, and I appreciate all of the help that I've received already. And thank you for welcoming me to the board so kindly and helping me figure things out. It's been great, and I'm excited about it.
Thanks. Okay, and Brian and I were just having a side conversation. The closed session that we have was going to be an informational one for the board to bring everybody up to speed on some things that are going on, and it doesn't make sense really to do that with four. I think we're better off to pump that. There's nothing that was an action-related item for decision-making process. It was, okay, here's kind of what's going on to get everybody on the same page. So I think we're going to bump that to the next meeting. So it means we're going to get out of here a little early tonight. Anything anybody wants to add? Then we have one more motion. Is there a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned, and the administrators get to go home early tonight. All right. Thanks, everyone, for coming.